Have you ever found yourself maybe on a train or just walking past a house and you glance in the window? You just catch this fleeting glimpse of someone else's life, like just a second, a little flash of their world, and your mind just sort of takes off. You start weaving these, stories about who they are, what their life's like, maybe filling in the blanks with your own stuff, hopes or dreams. It's a pretty universal thing, isn't it? This kind of compelling, almost magnetic pull to imagine the lives happening behind closed doors. Well, today on the deep dive, we're exploring exactly that. We're looking at those really blurred lines between, say, observation, imagination, and sometimes a very dark reality. We've got this fascinating set of sources from a listener that really lays it all out for us.
Yeah, our mission here really is to unpack this pretty complex series of events and character perspectives. You'll start to see just how deeply lives can get tangled up, even when people think they're just watching from a distance. We're going to highlight how things like perception, memory, and honestly, deep personal struggles can completely warp someone's idea of the truth. It leads us down some unexpected and pretty chilling paths.
Okay, let's start pulling back the curtain on Rachel's world then. The story really kicks off with her daily commute, that 8.04 train. For her, this trip is way more than just a routine. It's like a curated escape almost. A window into lives she imagines are, well, perfect. And it all kind of hinges on this one recurring moment, this familiar, almost predictable, faulty signal. You know the type. It stops the train, nearly always, right at the same spot. And that gives Rachel this perfect extended view right into her favorite house along the tracks, number 15. So from that train window, Rachel builds up this totally idealized picture of the couple who live there. She even gives them names, Jason and Jess. In her head, they're this perfect golden couple. She often sees them out on their little makeshift terrace. And this image, it's such a stark contrast to her own life, which she feels is just lost, empty, especially after her divorce from Tom. They basically represent everything she thinks she's lost, everything she still really wants.
And Rachel's view, as these sources really spell out, is so heavily colored by her own struggles. We see her battling alcoholism, the pre-mixed gin and tonics she drinks on the train, sometimes several. This leads to frequent blackouts, sometimes lasting for hours, and this deep sense of shame afterwards. Plus, her living situation isn't great. He's lodging with Kathy, who she calls a half-friend from university. And Kathy, well, she isn't always thrilled with Rachel's state, understandably.
So the drinking, it's not just like a casual thing then. It sounds like it's really woven into how she sees reality, doesn't it? Making her maybe not the most reliable observer.
Exactly. That's a huge part of it. And what's fascinating, or maybe tragic, is how her current state is just so deeply connected to her past trauma. There's the huge pain from the marriage failing, Tom's affair with Anna, her infertility struggles. The sources point to these really raw, specific memories that just haunt her. Like seeing the baby's pink blind in the window of her old house number 23, which is actually just a few doors down from Jason and Jess's place, or seeing Anna, pregnant, watering rose bushes in the garden that used to be hers.
Yeah.
These aren't just memories. They're like fuel for her obsession with Jason and Jess. They become this projection of the happiness she feels she lost. It's a powerful coping mechanism, but yeah, it massively distorts her view of things.
And this is where it really starts to get complicated, and the story takes a much darker turn. We're heading into this fateful weekend, starting Friday, July 12th, 2013. Rachel's drinking on the train ramps up, partly because she's facing this empty weekend alone. And at the same time, we get glimpses of Megan Hipwell, the real woman Rachel calls Jess, who, from Rachel's distant view, seems to be living this carefree, beautiful life.
But then Saturday, July 13th hits, and Rachel's memory of that night is just, well, it's a mess. Utterly fragmented. She wakes up the next day with a head injury, there's blood, bruises, and she's desperately trying to piece together what happened. Her recollections are so hazy, being at Whitney Station, maybe stumbling on some steps, a brief, confusing encounter with a red-haired man she later thinks might be someone called Andy. The blackout covers hours. Huge, terrifying gaps.
So she can't trust her own memory of that night. But what actually happened to Megan, the sources paint a really terrifying picture, don't they?
They absolutely do. And first off, Megan wasn't the carefree Jess Rachel saw. That Saturday evening, she had this huge fight with her husband, Scott, apparently so loud a neighbor overheard it. But that was just the beginning of her night.
Right, and there was something else going on too, wasn't there? Something secret involving like an old phone.
Exactly. She had this old pay-as-you-go relic, as the source calls it, hidden away in a shoebox. She used it to secretly contact someone. And that led her to meet someone in Corley Wood. And guess who she met there?
Don't tell me.
Tom. Rachel's ex-husband, Tom.
Tom, Rachel's ex. Wow. And he was angry. There was blood. That's chilling.
Yeah, visibly angry, blood on his hand.
Yeah.
He apparently blamed it on problems with the ex, meaning Rachel.
No.
But Megan was there because she had this desperate, life-altering secret to tell him she was pregnant. She wasn't sure if the baby was Tom's or someone else's. And that confession, according to what we've read, just unleashed this horrific violence from Tom.
He hit her.
With a rock. She was bleeding badly, and then came this absolutely chilling confession from him, Tom saying he had to finish it. And then he buried her body near a disused railway line.
Oh my God. Incredibly dark. So this wasn't just some casual thing for Tom, it was calculated. And while Rachel's struggling with her own missing time from Saturday the very next day, Sunday the 14th, things get even worse for her. She gets this terrifying voicemail from Tom. He's just furious, shouting at her, telling her to stay away from him and Anna, saying Rachel frightened Anna. And this disturbingly fuels this violent fantasy in Rachel's mind about smashing Anna's head against the bathroom tiles. You can feel the raw anger and desperation just pouring off the page there. So in the immediate aftermath of the weekend, Megan is officially reported missing. And the police, we've got Detective Inspector Gaskill and Detective Sergeant Riley, they start their investigation. And initially, their focus is right on Scott Hipwell, the husband.
Right. And Rachel, she jumps in wanting to help. But she's so desperate to feel useful, to feel serious, that her actions are completely driven by self-deception. She actually fabricates a past connection with Megan, claiming they knew each other through the art gallery Megan used to run, which is just not true. Then she feeds the police information about Megan supposedly having an affair with her therapist, Kamal Abdic. She does this partly to try and shift suspicion away from Scott, who she still sees as her Jason. She genuinely seems to believe she's being helpful, but really she's just muddying the waters with more lies. It's a really stark example of how our minds can build these narratives where we're the hero, even when our actions are, frankly, destructive.
And this therapist, Kamal Abdic, he becomes a key figure, right? Both in Megan's secret life and in Rachel's attempts to influence the investigation. He's the one Megan actually was having an affair with. And he does get arrested, but then he's released pretty quickly. Lack of evidence, which must have just frustrated Rachel's misguided efforts even more.
Meanwhile, you got Anna's perspective unfolding. Tom's new wife. And her own suspicions about Tom are starting to grow. She begins noticing little inconsistencies in his stories, things about his parents, or about the supposed Army boys get-together he claimed to be at. Small lies that start adding up. So Anna, trying to figure out what he's hiding, finds this dead mobile phone in his gym bag. Later, she finds a charger that fits it. And this clicks for her. He's hiding something much bigger than just skipping the gym. At the same time, she's meticulously documenting every time Rachel calls or is seen near their house, trying to build this case of harassment against her. Kind of unknowingly gathering evidence that will eventually collide with the truth about Megan.
So as the official investigation is kind of stalling, Rachel keeps trying to piece together that Saturday night in her own head. She keeps going over those fragmented memories. And one memory surfaces seeing Anna getting into Tom's red car near the underpass around the time Megan disappeared. But that contradicts what the police told her, that Anna was supposedly at home. This makes Rachel even more confused, but also more determined to dig deeper. It's like the truth is trying to push through the fog.
Yeah, and this persistence leads her into another confrontation, this time escalating with Scott. Scott is just consumed by grief, and he's being torn apart in the press. Online theories painting him as a killer. He's getting desperate. He doesn't believe Rachel's stories about knowing Megan or about this other man, Kamal. And when Rachel can't really explain herself properly because she is lying about parts of it, his frustration just explodes into violence. You really feel for Scott here. His grief is so raw, and the public pressure on him is immense. It makes him incredibly volatile.
Okay, so we've had all these twists, all these fragments, lies, suspicions. It all leads to this final, ultimate confrontation. Rachel, now armed with these fractured memories, but also some new disturbing insights, maybe fueled by that memory of Anna in the car, she goes to confront Tom directly in his house. And Hannah is there too. This is it. This is where everything has to unravel.
And it does. Tom delivers this absolute chilling confession. He admits it all. Killing Megan, burying her body, and his justification is just horrifying. He claims she was messy, that she wouldn't shut up. His manipulation is just laid bare. He shows complete contempt for both Rachel and Anna. Even then, he tries to maintain this twisted knight in shining armor persona, claiming he was just trying to help them both, trying to fix things. Anna is just utterly poleaxed. You see the dawning, horrifying realization wash over her as she finally understands the true dark nature of the man she married, the depth of his deception, his abuse. It's textbook gaslighting, isn't it? Making you doubt everything you thought you knew.
And in that critical moment, despite all the history, all the animosity she felt towards Rachel, Anna makes a choice. She chooses to believe Rachel. She finally recognizes Tom's pattern of lies and abuse, a pattern that she now sees has damaged both of them in different awful ways. She sees the monster behind the mask. So when we step back from the thrilling plot, what does this deep dive really show us? I mean, for me, it highlights how profoundly personal trauma, like Rachel's grief and alcoholism, can warp reality. It leads us to project our own stuff, fears, desires onto others, creating these intricate fictions that can completely blind us to what's actually happening. It's a pretty stark reminder of how our brains try to cope, sometimes in really self-destructive ways.
Absolutely. And it's also just a chilling illustration of how insidious psychological manipulation can be.
Mm-hmm.
Tom's character is just a masterclass in gaslighting. It shows how easily someone can construct a false reality around you, making you doubt your own eyes and ears. And the sheer courage it takes to finally break free from that kind of deception, it's immense.
Yeah. This deep dive has really shown us how the stories we tell ourselves and the stories we think we see in others can be just miles apart from the truth. So, maybe a final thought for you, the listener, as you go about your day. What hidden truths might you be overlooking in your own perfect views of the world around you? And, maybe more importantly, what might it actually take for those illusions to shatter?